Hi there, hope you're feeling good and healthy. We first meet Jeannie, a girl, and John, her younger brother, at St. John's School in Australia, where they both attend. We cross paths with their father, a stockbroker, on the opposite side. All three of them share a town, but their father has been in a state of profound distress for days. He is going through a rough patch after getting a divorce and is also saddled with debt from other firms. Even though he always drives Jeannie and John to school, something is different about today. He proposes getting away from it all for a while in the country. They continue driving farther into the enormous Australian Outback. Her father's peculiar conduct catches Jeannie's attention. He remains remarkably silent and repeatedly pulls over the vehicle. But she doesn't really notice because he acts strangely all the time. When the time is right, John exits the vehicle and begins to sprint. While their father starts unloading the materials, he orders them to pitch a tent. As soon as Jeannie complies with his orders, she witnesses him brandishing a pistol at John and opening fire. In a split second, she reaches out to her brother and yanks him away from the gunshot. She watches in horror as her father burns their car to the ground and then takes his own life. The whole ordeal has left Jeannie speechless and bewildered as to her father's motivations. She had a feeling he was crushed to despair by the mountain of his bills. John, who is too innocent to understand the seriousness of the situation, views it as a game. Jeannie has come to terms with the fact that they are now completely alone and must learn to survive on their own. With the food they gave, she sets out on foot in an uncertain route, hoping to be rescued. They are trapped in the unrelenting desert heat and have no other option. They set out on foot all day and rest at a high point as night falls. They are frugal because they know their food will go bad quickly. Wearied, they nod off beneath the celestial canopy. Early the next day, they press on with their expedition and come across a massive boulder. They struggle mightily to climb it in the hopes that it could provide them with a panoramic perspective of their environment. They are shocked to see nothing but arid desert stretching out before them in every way. After consuming their last food, they descend and resume their quest for assistance. Time goes on and things get much worse for them. As John's hydration levels plummet, Jeannie's strength dwindles. His health worsens to the point where he passes out. Jeannie, despite her own exhaustion, carries him on her shoulders because she is determined to save him. She keeps going even though the sun is so hot that it cracks her skin. At last, they see a distant tree. With renewed optimism, they dash in the direction of it, certain that water must be close by. It's true what Jeannie feels. Along with a fruit tree, they come upon a little body of water. She is wary at first, but then she sees birds eating the fruit, so she decides it must be okay. They hydrate themselves, eat everything they want, and take a bath. They eventually get some rest after setting their camp close by. But the next morning, they discover that the water has evaporated and the fruit has decayed. Tragically, John confides in Jeannie that he believes God's furious with them since he has cut off their water supply. She reassures him that things will improve and comforts him in her role as older sister. She is aware, however, that their prospects of surviving are low. The merciless desert continues to trap them day after day. As Jeannie's optimism starts to wane, she sees a figure coming from a distance. This individual seems to be a member of a tribal group and is armed. It becomes clear as he approaches that he is a young indigenous boy from the walkabout tribe called Yugalo. In his own tongue, Yugalo approaches them and inquires about their purpose in the desert. Yugalo doesn't comprehend Jeannie's English response, in which she explains that they are trapped and in need of water. Yugalo doesn't comprehend Jeannie's attempts at communication despite her best efforts. The lad starts to bolt, visibly irritated. Yugalo finds John's use of hand signals to communicate amusing. Without further ado, he returns them to the tree, where he promptly retrieves water from a hidden source by digging with a stick. Instead of drying up, the water had sunk farther into the earth. They both get plenty of water. Because she has no other option, Jeannie chooses to accompany Yugalo. They set out on their adventure together, the three of them taking it gently at first. John sees wild camels for the first time on his travels. Yugalo takes a break from hunting to set up traps, but he fails miserably many times. After much effort, he finally brings down a deer, providing sustenance for his siblings and himself. What this shows is how different their current situation is from ours, in which food is readily available, and how much harder it is for them to survive. They would starve to death if they were unable to catch food. After Yugolo prepares the deer, the trio enjoys a delicious meal. On their voyage, Yugolo shares stories about his family and tribe, but Jeannie has no idea what he's talking about because she doesn't speak his language. John gives Yugolo a stuffed British soldier, but the latter furiously rejects it. The territory of his people had been leveled by the British, transforming the lush woodland into a desolate wasteland. His animosity against the British runs deep. After Jeannie's father burnt the automobile, the following scene shows Yugolo's tribe congregating at the scene. As they examine the remnants with curiosity, they attempt to decipher what it is. John and Yugolo, meantime, become closer as they play together and learn to communicate with each other through body language. John goes to sleep easily when the sun goes down, but Jeannie refuses to go to sleep. She's been in the desert for 6 nights now, and she's covered in wounds. Home is where her heart is. She observes Yugolo, positioned on a hill, standing before the night sky praying. After a day of exploring, they reach a spot where trees have been chopped down, creating pools of still water. The area had been infected by a sickness due to this water. When they come to a halt, Jeannie sees that John has blisters on his back. John gets some comfort from his wounds when Yugolo, who knows a treatment, kills an animal and uses its boiling blood. Jeannie adjusts to living in the desert as the years go by. She gets stronger, and John and Yugolo form an intimate friendship. They communicate extensively via sign language. To further shield Jeannie from the heat, Yugolo crafts an umbrella just for her. Yugolo eventually leads them to a rock that has stunning tribal artwork on it. These paintings highlight the traditions and hardships of his people and show creatures being hunted to extinction. It occurs to Jeannie that Yugolo may have never encountered strangers. Since his birth, he had never ventured beyond the desert's confines. John and Yugolo go hunting as the narrative progresses, and Jeannie goes to a nearby pond to swim. One little animal is killed and consumed by them. They discover a balloon that belonged to a nearby research team at this time. They continue on their route, ignoring it since they think it must have come from far away. They keep on traveling till they reach a little cabin. The cottage is deserted as Jeannie, full of optimism, dashes inside. She goes back to Yugolo in disappointment. He attempts to communicate with her, but she remains oblivious as always. Nonetheless, Yugolo comes clean about his feelings for Jeannie. Yugolo is devastated since she doesn't understand him and just goes away without saying anything. John is taken hunting by Yugolo, who believes Jeannie dislikes him. After some time lost in the forest, they come across what appears to be a road leading to the city. John is taken aback when Yugolo removes him from the situation. Yugolo listens to his elders and stays away from the city since they warned him about the hazards of roadways. They start to hunt a buffalo away from the road when they hear a gunshot close. 2 hunters, Yugolo sees them coming, are armed and can hunt remotely. As a horrible pastime, the hunters brutally slaughter animals and then let their corpses rot. Yugolo is conflicted as he watches this. Also thinks their hunting technique is flawed, but also questions his own abilities because he isn't as good. He has trouble hunting as swiftly as others and wonders if it is a sign that he is failing as a walkabout. Feeling discouraged, he struggles to comprehend the weapons they employ. As Yugolo ponders something, he goes off. He ignores Jeannie's cries for help. The hunter-left buffalo carcasses eventually lead him to lie down. As a ceremonial practice among his people, he covers himself with ash and draws buffalo tattoos. No one has a clue as to his thoughts. Subsequently, Yugolo reappears, this time adorned in a ceremonial dance that he performs before Jeannie. For him, this dance is a way to show how you feel about someone. However, Jeannie flees in terror as she is oblivious to its significance. Yugolo continues to dance non-stop. With an unwavering will to express his emotions, he perseveres all night long. He keeps Jeannie and John up all night talking, but they have no idea what he has in mind. After hearing John describe the road they had passed earlier, Jeannie wonders why Yugolo kept quiet. Unbeknownst to them, Yugolo had developed an emotional attachment to them and did not want them to depart. Regardless, Jeannie is adamant that they will locate a route and go out the next day. Despite this, Yugolo refuses to give up hope and dances non-stop throughout the night. Jeannie and John are ready to go as soon as it's light outside. After seeing that Yugolo is nowhere to be found, Jeannie naturally thinks he has gone back home. However, upon entering the outside, they discover Yugolo's lifeless body dangling from a tree. What Jeannie sees astounds her. He even danced for her yesterday when he appeared perfectly fine. I don't see why he would do it. Knowing there's no need in remaining, she gets rid of the ants and continues on. However, she continues to wonder. Is Yugolo's lack of confidence in his hunting skills the reason behind this? Did he feel the weight of tribal expectations on his shoulders? Or maybe it was because he felt unrequited by Jeannie. Are you in agreement? Please inform us in the space provided. Jeannie and John locate a campsite close to a manufacturing site populated by employees. Helping them get back to the city, one worker speaks English. Years go by. After maturing into a woman, Jeannie marries and continues on her journey. But Yugolo is still on her mind. Both their friendship and the lessons Dad taught her remain vivid in her memory. Still, she can't shake one nagging doubt. Then why did he act that way? It is traditional practice among Aboriginal communities in Australia to send youngsters into the bush for a few months when they reach the age of 16 in order to teach them to be self-sufficient and acquire survival skills. A walkabout describes this type of excursion. This was conclude the journey that Yugolo took. That's it. Hope you enjoyed it.